Oh, here it is. Hey, all right. Technical difficulties averted again.
Yay.
Yay. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Adventures with Sarah. Sarah's on vacation because, hey, it's almost New Year's and all that stuff. So instead, it's just Andrew schlepping around, but I brought Lisa on board to kind of jazz things up. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Andrew, how's it going?
It's swell. Well, both of us have just gotten back from our own little mini vacations, which is kind of cool, and we can let people know about that. And if some people don't know Lisa Anderson, then I guess they probably haven't taken any tours with us in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, and we haven't been doing all the live streams that we were doing when we were locked down.
I know. I guess that's what
Thankfully.
happens. Yeah, it's like, hey,
Amen.
now we're just doing actual live stuff and not live stream stuff. So you were earlier this week when we were putting this together, you were in Bergamo, is that right?
I was in Bergamo, Brescia, and then up in Val Camonica, looking at prehistoric art, like petroglyphs on rocks that were basically from the end of the Ice Age. They started being carved out at the end of the Ice Age, and then going through the Iron Age and the Neolithic and into the Roman era. So we were looking at funny incisions on rocks, very primitive art. It was very cool.
Wow, you see, I had no idea you can do that in Italy.
And it was just a walk in the woods, actually. It was really fantastic. We've decided that we want to go back and be a little bit more informed, and it's the middle of winter, so probably not the best time, although there was no snow where we went. But it was fascinating. So.
Wow, that sounds cool. So how far away is that from Piemonte, where you're at?
That was about a 3.5-hour drive up into the lakes region. So we were on Lago di Iseo, which is kind of between Lake Como and Lake Garda, which are two lakes that people tend to know more about. Where it's Lago di Iseo is a tiny little lake, and it just jumps up from the lake, and it's just like mountains all around it. It's absolutely beautiful, with a couple of towns along the way. And a lovely little town on the lake called Lovera was doing tribute to Charles Schulz, because it's the anniversary of Charles Schulz's birth. And so it was all about Snoopy, but he was not born in Italy. I realized that when I posted something, I posted something on my Instagram page, and the way I wrote it, I was tired and I was kind of doing it late, and it made it seem like he was born there, and he was not born there. He was born in, I think, Minnesota.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he was born in Italy, I wouldn't know. But Mario Andretti was born in what is now Croatia, but back then it was Italy. And someone said, "Oh, I always thought he was American." And I was like, "Oh, no, he's Italian." Blah 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 blah. But then I looked him up, and he moved when he was quite young or whatever. So maybe he was known as an Italian American driver.
I think he was actually known as an Italian American driver. I was associated him with Italy.
Yeah, I just always assumed, I don't know, he drove a fast car, he had an Italian name, he must be Italian or whatever. I didn't think he was kind of half and half or whatever, but yeah, sometimes you don't know until you bother to do some research stuff. So before we get into our Piemonte and Puglia tours, which we're going to do kind of a look at the tours that you ran for us earlier this fall. I was just curious, was there any snow, or would there be snow and or ice on any of these lakes normally or later in the winter, or
no? The lakes have their own sort of microclimate, actually. They grow olives around there, and so they're always really temperate. So and then you go up into the mountains, just past them, and you have skiing, and it's absolutely beautiful. And of course, you're basically on the Swiss or Austrian border, depending on kind of where you are, which lake you're at, I should say, right? Lake Como goes into Switzerland, where we were too. You could eventually go up and into Switzerland. But yeah, no, very temperate climate, microclimates. Nice.
Yeah, I had heard from some people in Slovenia, where we have the northernmost part of Slovenia, where they grow olives and make oil, that the Lakes District in Italy is the most northern place in Europe where people are going to have olive oil from. So exactly,
and it's good olive oil. And you've been to Bergamo before. You told me you love Bergamo.
Yeah. Well, I found Bergamo only because I realized that most of the cheap flights are out of the Bergamo, like Milan's got 3 airports, and which Bergamo is not in
Is
Milan.
one.
But even better, because Bergamo is, I think, well, I mean, whatever. It's easier, it's smaller, it's more my size, and it's cheaper. And so I've when I fly out of there, I've gone to Bergamo, and then I realized, oh, this is a really cute town. Like all these little, I mean, it's not little, to be honest. I mean, it's, it's decent size. But yeah, it's really neat. Like I'd go back there to see more for sure.
I'd like to go back because we just spent, an afternoon basically wandering around Bergamo, and I'd love to go back. And there was lots to see. It's about 100, I think 115,000 people more or less.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe for Italy, that is like, whatever, that's not big.
It's small.
Yeah, but where I'm at, because people will always say like, oh, like this part of Slovenia, it's like a little Tuscany, but it's like not little, it's like miniature, it's minute, because like the biggest town in that kind of part of Slovenia is still like the smallest village if you actually went to Tuscany in Italy. That's what I've realized now, is like just how different they are. So it's like you see the postcard thing, you're like, oh, that's really cute, and then you're like, oh, there's like 13 people who live there. And then like in Italy, you're like, that's a cute hill town, but there's still like, there's like everything there in the hill town. It's not like a village.
It's my brother, when he came to visit me once, just in our little, it's not nearly as charming where I live. It's not a beautiful hill town, and it's a town of about 3,500 people, but he's like, you have all the benefits of a small town, except you're not in the sticks. It's brilliant. You have wonderful food, all the services, but you get that community feeling from a small town, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, look, I mean, especially with public transport in Italy, I mean, like you don't need to live, I mean, you can live in a lot of places, I think, and then still get around quite easily enough. And then why deal with all the bigger city issues or what have you?
Exactly. Which is really nice.
So I was going to let people know that I went when she was in the Lakes District. I took my kids to Vienna, and I was telling Lisa before we got started on this Zoom, here's a good piece of information for anyone. And I think most people watching this probably already know, but make sure you buy those seat reservations, because here's the crazy thing, Lisa. I bought a round trip ticket from Ljubljana to Vienna. So that's 6 hours there, 6 hours back, for myself and my 2 kids. They're 10 and 13. So they're not like toddlers. And round trip with the seat reservations, thank God I made the seat reservations, it was 92.5 euros round trip for 3 of us to go.
That's amazing. That's not very much.
No, I know it's totally crazy. But there was some dad who had a couple of kids on the same train that was sitting in our seats on the way there, and he didn't have seat reservations. So he ended up standing the rest of the time because they didn't have, there were just not enough seats. It was the day after Christmas. It was really busy. So seat reservations, like they were 3.5 euros a person on that train. So just one of those, like, yeah, don't, especially I think in the holidays, because you never know. I'm assuming it's, things can be crazy, but anyways, so it's so inexpensive for these things. And I thought, that would just be a horrible way to start your little holiday
vacation.
Yeah.
Well, any train ride that's over probably an hour, I don't think I'd want to spend it on my feet. I mean, an hour would already be pushing it. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you really gotta hope that there's some tables or whatever in the snack car or something like that, because I mean that would be like my probably like plan I would go to if I didn't have seat reservations, was like, let's go to the snack car and drink hot cocoa for 4 hours while we go to Vienna.
I'm surprised that they would let you they wouldn't let somebody buy a ticket without making a seat reservation, because usually, the trains, when you go in and buy the tickets now, it's all kind of automated and you have to get a seat. Was it a fast train?
No, it wasn't. I mean, well, I think both for Slovenia and Austria, it was like kind of just a normal train. It wasn't like stopping every, it wasn't like the milk run kind of trains. But no, yeah, I was kind of, I thought, I mean, I know when you take trains within Slovenia, because it's a small country, you rarely have seat or need seat reservations. But I would think like intercity trains, because I think it was a IC or whatever the designation is in Europe for those intercity.
Oh yeah, the intercity. Yeah, you would have a reservation in Italy for the ICs, I think. Or at least I have, since every time I get on one.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, and that she was nice. She asked, like, do you want, it wasn't like, because you're right, it wasn't required. It was like, oh, do you want to purchase this? And I said, well, do you think it's gonna be crowded? And then I thought, of course, it's a day after Christmas. So, but yeah, that's a good thing for people to realize, that. I mean, because yeah, that would, you just never know. So,
Actually, you know what? That you just brought into my mind that when we end our Piemonte tour, because we end in Cuneo, the only train that I have gotten on recently where I don't need reservations is that run from Cuneo to Torino, because it is the milk run.
okay, yeah, and it was more like a, I mean, because what, that's, is that like an hour or something like that? How
Yeah,
long?
it's like an hour and 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, I mean, because I kind of think of that as like almost like a commuter train where it's like,
It is a
okay,
commuter train.
yeah, yeah, and those kind of the trains in Slovenia, yeah, you never think, you know, you like if you bought a seat reservation, that like it'd be like buying first class on a, you know, trains. Like, well, I don't, why would I need that for an hour or something like that?
Exactly. In fact, they don't even have first class sections anymore on those.
Oh yeah, it's just all one thing. Hey, oh, and lastly, what's the latest in Italy when traveling on public transport? Do you still need masks or FF2 masks or anything like that?
You don't anymore.
Okay,
It's
so here,
recommended in really crowded settings. So,
yeah.
there are always some people wearing masks, and with all of the junk that's going around kind of right now, I think I always see some people in masks, but they're not required at this point.
Well, that's what I assumed in Austria too, because I knew that. I mean, I knew that. I think I remember Italy finally dropped the FF2 requirement. And I thought, okay, well, I'm fine, and I was for the train, but on public transport in Vienna, you need FF2 mask, and it's only Vienna. It's not an Austria thing,
Huh.
it's like a city thing. And it's like I already noticed that. But I was like, wow, most of the people waiting to get on this U-Bahn are putting masks on, and like the FF2
Interesting.
masks. Yeah, I was kind of surprised, and I asked someone. They said, yeah, it's a Vienna city thing, not a. And they said it really hasn't changed at all since 2020, I guess. So yeah, which is another one of those, like, you kind of think like, well, you kind of know how everything's at. You've traveled wherever, you travel in Europe in the past year, you kind of figure, well, everyone's going to be kind of the same at this point, and you're not really thinking about those restrictions. But yeah, I never would have thought like some city's going to have its own specific rules.
Regulation.
Yeah, so yeah, because when I went to Italy earlier this year, because Slovenia was all like, hey, no masks, no whatever, and it was still FF2 on the train, and fortunately I got one, at the little whatever tobacco shop
Oh
before I
yeah,
got
they're
on.
still on sale everywhere.
Yeah,
Well, I always have a mask in my bag. The only place we have to put them on anymore is in the hospitals and doctors' offices, that kind of thing. Although I had one when we were in Bergamo and we went up the funicular, it was really crowded, and I put my mask on there
yeah.
because
I mean,
you get on and people are going,
yeah, that
okay,
might be good even if there was never any COVID, just for like the normal crap going around
cold.
at Christmas
Exactly.
time. Okay, hey, let's jump into, since we did talk a little bit about Piemonte, let's jump into Piemonte, and you've got some photos to show from the
Yeah,
recent.
let's see if I can do this. I'm out of
Okay.
practice on all this screen sharing. Wait a minute. Let's see. See what I end up showing people. You're gonna tell me if this is
Yeah,
working.
okay, yep, it's starting. Yep, that's
Okay, that's a good sign.
yep, it's okay. Then you're gonna,
I'm gonna go here.
yeah.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna go here, here. Can you see Piemonte?
No, okay, now I got your home screen or whatever. And now, okay, it's there. I think it's just a little lag time, that's all.
Oh, okay, okay.
So yes,
See
we're
all the
here.
interesting. Did I have anything scandalous on my home screen? No, I know. I know I don't. It was sadly unscandalous life.
But we're not up to practice on Zoom, so we probably are like, oh yeah, because we don't Zoom anymore. Who cares what's on your home screen? But I'm still like, oh crap! I better have a nice, whatever the wallpaper. Like I better have something nice, because just in case people see it for half a second.
There's lots of icons. I have lots of icons.
Yeah, all I saw was icons, so I don't think anything's too scandalous. So for before we get into the Piemonte photos and some stories and info, the tour is actually starting up this April on the 18th of April to the 28th. And as most of our tours do nowadays, a day after this, on the 29th of April, then we start the Puglia tour, which goes to the 9th of May. So basically they're back to back with a day off in between. So Lisa, whatever, gets to catch her breath. And
well, basically I have time to
get from one
I
place
will be leaving the 28th, finishing up with Piemonte. And then if anyone is going from Piemonte to Puglia, they can fly down to Bari with me and we'll just get all checked in together, because I will get there a day beforehand.
Awesome. And then I think actually the reverse happened this year, right? You did the Puglia tour,
Exactly.
and then you flew to Torino or to somewhere, and someone
Flew to Torino, exactly. And Vicky was with me.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So it's exact opposite. So yes, Lisa's doing both of these tours. And so I'm curious because I've done the Puglia tour the first year Sarah and I did it. I have not done Piemonte, and I haven't been to Piemonte. So I'm going to actually ask you non-scripted questions.
Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to answer them. I'll try.
Just based on what the hell's this? That looks good.
And I'll tell you, the slideshow is very, it's not a day by day account of the tours. It kind of goes in order. I did start with Torino. This is actually, the April tour is going to be the third time that we've run this tour. Because the first time we just did a week-long staycation and it was only in Cuneo. And then this last year, in September, we added the 3 days in Torino, because I noticed the first time we ran it, everybody either came in through Torino and stayed a few days or went out through Torino. And so it became a really nice addition to the tour.
Yeah, and it sounded like, from what I had heard from the guests on this year's tour, that was great. And hey, 10 days, I mean, look, it seems like Piemonte is obviously a place that a lot of people haven't been to in Italy. I mean, it makes it really unique. But I would think Torino is also a city that a lot of people haven't been to. So then you get like best of both worlds in one tour.
And it's one of the most underappreciated cities in Italy. I'm going to just show you through. You can ask me questions whenever you want. This is our, deer in the headlight. This was our first evening. It was really good fun.
I know some of those people.
I bet you do. I know quite a few of them, actually. But between this tour and I've had a lot of people that have traveled with me before.
Now, this 17th century salon, that looks really cool.
It was so cool. So this is the Circolo dei Lettori, but Torino has like the most readers per capita in the country and the most bookstores. It's a great city for book lovers. And then there's this literary circle, and they do a really nice aperitivo there. And nice. I always figure people are often jet lagged that first night. You never know if people have been coming off of having traveled a while already, or if, they're just getting off the plane. So I always try to keep it for the first night.
Not overwhelm people. Maybe we should do we should think about like some kind of book club that people could be in before the tour or whatever. And then you could, with your aperitivo and the fact that you've got like Torino is this like kind of mecca for book lovers, then you could like, people can opt in for like the
first night book. I don't know if they'd want to talk with the Italians about that would be an interesting proposal though, huh? Andrew, that might be a little bit too demanding for the tour.
Exactly. Hey, I'm just throwing out ideas. Some of them stick and some of them just fall down and we never see them again. So
that's funny.
This Università
degli Studi. So that's just Torino's university, but this is the main building. And then they had this wonderful graphic exhibit just in the courtyard, which was fun because it was all issues to do with the climate change. So there you're seeing in plastic pollution, just some of the challenges we're facing. So you have this wonderful ancient building, and then you have this very modern photographic exhibit. And these are just, like all big cities, they have all sorts of wonderful things, wonderful events going on. And the Galleria, I think oftentimes people, if they think of Milan and they think of Naples, we have these wonderful galleries, Galleria, that came out of the Industrial Revolution, usually the second half of the 1800s, that are made with glass and steel. And this has beautiful Art Deco on the insides. And it's also home to the original in Milano, which is wonderful for chocolates.
Ooh, yeah, because two things. I remember something in the itinerary, because I know kind of the itinerary because I would used to post it like the new one every year on the website, and I'd go through all the photos. So I remember this photo. I was like, oh yeah, where's this? This looks really pretty. And then all
This
the
is just in
chocolate
the
stuff.
center of Torino. It's fantastic.
And there's chocolate in Cuneo too? Is that correct? Am I
We
thinking?
actually, yes, we go and learn how to make Cunese chocolates in Cuneo, which is good fun.
Okay.
Torino, Piemonte in general is really well known for its chocolate production. It's one of the places in Italy that first started to produce chocolate when it came from the New World, and they have become masters of making wonderful chocolates.
And the Cafe Mulasano looks. I mean, look at that like woodwork in there. That just looks like.
Isn't that gorgeous?
That looks like a.
Actually, you see the thing that looks like a clock behind you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But do you notice the numbers are completely wacky?
Yeah, it's like 2 at the bottom, 2 where the 6 is, and 5 where the 3 is, and I mean, according to my eyesight, which is not very.
It is no, and it's so. And then where you see the lady in the hat, that's Vicky, and she was going to push this button. So when people are arguing, the Italians love to argue about who's going to pick up the bill. I'm going to get it. No, you're going to get it. But so this was designed so that you push the button and you pick a number, and whoever gets, God, what was it? The closest to the number, the farthest was the. After people consumed whatever you want, because you didn't want anyone to ever feel obligated not to order something, or maybe go way over the top because they didn't think they were paying, both directions.
Yeah.
And so this was made to decide who was going to pick up the bill. And this cafe actually in particular is also the birthplace, they say, of the tramezzino sandwich. The little white bread sandwiches that you see all over Venice.
Yep.
Really soft white bread. Well, those were actually invented in Torino, here.
And they were cool. Exported or stolen by the Venetians?
They were loved so much that they were acquired and spread throughout the country.
Okay.
In particular, in Venice has become excuse me, the Veneto region in particular has really run with tramezzini.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I've seen them, because I've been there a lot in the last 3 or 4 years, and I noticed them and I did not know what they were called. Anyway, I love this idea of doing that, of getting that who gets the bill based on numbers. Although, do they have a rule like, hey, if you won last time, you like don't have to like throw in this time because you already paid last time? I wonder how that works. Nope, I think we've frozen up. I don't know. Lisa, can you hear me? Are we still on? I'm on my end. Lisa? Uh-oh.
Andrew, can you not hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Everything just froze. So
okay, we're back again.
Yay.
I can see the bars on my phone going in and out. You know what? The Italians are really good at either just sharing the bill, but literally they don't say, oh, but I had this, but I had that, you had that. They just divide it equally. Or, I pay this time and you pay next time.
Yeah, because the other way, it's, oh my goodness. I think I've lived in Europe long enough where like that it has to be something like that. Either one person pays or you just all share equally. But the whole let's break down the bill and spend 20 minutes is like, just shoot me.
Exactly. It all comes out in the wash.
Exactly. I've been Europeanized, and that's in a very good way with regards to that, I think. So is this more of Torino here with this?
Yeah, actually, this was the view from our hotel.
Oh,
this was from my
nice.
room. I thought it was a pretty nice. It's right in the center of the city, so I just thought I'd throw that in there because it's pretty. And this is one of the churches. This is called the Gran Madre, the Great Mother of Turin.
Wow. Okay, so that's okay. Was that a temple at some point?
No, it was just designed to look like a temple.
Okay. Yep. Get all of it.
It's neoclassical.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
And
yeah.
actually, the ice chambers, these are really cool because they're kind of like giant underground igloos at Porta Palazzo, which is Porta Palazzo is one of the biggest marketplaces. Actually, I think it's the biggest market. I'm going to flip down to. This is a picture of a tiny little bit of it, but in Europe, not just in Italy. And so going back here, they used to bring ice down from the mountains and put them in these chambers. And then, the market stalls would have ice every day to sell perishable items to keep it fresh, to keep it from going bad. But these date back into, the the 18th century, the 1700s. So pretty
Nice.
amazing.
So now they only have ice for the American tourists that come by ordering drinks.
Yeah, ice is a lot rarer nowadays, actually.
They're like, we can buy an ice machine, but we just don't want to. So
these things have the coolest function in them too. I took my son there one day and we figured out, you can barely see it, but the grate in the very front, if you stand on these grates, the acoustics inside of these things suddenly change. And so it's kind of fun to go in and play with our voices.
oh yeah, I would think that would be like, it's kind of like I don't know, it kind of looks like a rotunda or something like that, where it would be maybe nice for a small choir or something.
The sound would be amazing, at least if you're standing in the right part of it.
Yeah.
But they're good fun and cool in the summertime. And this is just flipping. This is where the shroud, the Shroud of Turin, which we don't get to see now because it's very rarely on display. But this is the chapel by Ubara that's attached to the Palazzo Reale. And I just think that the architectural style of this is fantastic. So I had to throw that in.
Hey, because I have to ask, I think it was in the last 10 or 12 years, Torino had the Winter Olympics. Just wondering, is there anything you notice in the city that's from the Olympics, or?
The guests are now, but I don't really get out to them. The thing that the Olympics did is it got them building a metro system, and I've noticed that makes a real big difference in getting around. It's nice. And that it just was a way the city got spruced up, because it was, there were some parts that were just kind of being ignored. And like I said, it's an amazing city, but it's one of the most, I would say, underappreciated big cities in Italy, because it has, amazing things to see with the Savoia family, the dynasty it's still the longest lasting dynastic family in Europe, even though they don't have any power. They were the ones that became the kings of Italy when Italy was united in between 1861 and 1870. And this palace, actually, where you see these two funky modern birds, but this is the royal palace that was the Savoia families. And Torino was ancient. It has Roman ruins. It's got an underground that's pretty amazing. The markets, the Savoia castles, and it's a fantastic, very lively, fun city. Oh, and it's got the second largest Egyptian collection in the world, second to Cairo. Wow. Because at the Egyptian Museum there, because so many of the archaeologists were from that area.
Dang, okay, that's a good trivia question, because I'm guessing most people are never going to get Piemonte. Torino. And I would throw out there, the country with the largest population of camels is?
But not Slovenia.
No, someplace you might think of it. It's Australia.
Really?
Yes,
I had
exactly.
to throw Slovenia out because you're there. I was thinking, is this?
That would be awesome. Like, there's 2 million people in Slovenia, but there's like 4.5 million camels. That would like that.
There's so many camels in Australia.
I know. Yeah, well, everything goes to Australia, and then there's like no natural predators or whatever. So then they just like keep growing and growing and growing. So yeah. But I think it's on par with the Egyptian, art in Torino, because I don't think I would guess that as the second biggest.
Yeah, you would never think of that going there.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was the Molenta Liliana. This is the view from our hotel rooftop at night, which is great. But then the inside is a cinema museum, because we have a lot of cinematic history in Torino as well. So that's kind of a fun thing.
Now I remember seeing some of these pictures, I think earlier this year, when we're putting this on the website, that I'd go anyway, just for everything else that you've shown. But I think I have to go for this cinema museum, because that looks so cool. And the interior.
It's fun.
Wow.
You can spend hours in there if you want to.
Right. So wait a second, that is in the inside of your hotel?
No, the view, the little picture on the left, where you're seeing the spire in the background, that's it's called the Mole.
Yep.
And then the picture on the right is actually the inside of that building.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So from a distance, and then this is from one of the palaces in Torino, and I don't know, I like the picture with all the stuff that was recovered as they were renovating it.
Nice. All right, I'm writing this down because I'm definitely I gotta go. I gotta go.
Oh, you'll love it. And then Wiley Coyote, you can decide
Yes.
if you want to push the door open if you can fit through them.
Not that is very
I
cool.
just walked through.
Sweet. That is very clever.
And then this is one of the royal palaces, the Veneria Reale, that's on our way. When we're leaving Torino and going to Cuneo, we stop here and they have an amazing garden and then this beautiful hallway. And so we're the Shroud of Turin, where I showed you the chapel and I said, I like the architecture. Well, this is the same architect that created this great hall. His name is Juvara.
That's impressive. And I'm assuming because Cuneo in my head at least is like a much smaller place. It's like, here's this like enormous, rich, built thing. And then you're off to the staycay part of the tour,
Exactly. This is on the way. This is Veneria Reale. And we met I don't remember why they were in these costumes at this point, but they had been doing an event in Torino and then they were coming back and we met them on the street and they're like, oh, can we have a picture? And then they let us into this little workshop that one of them, this is his passion, Giordano Michele, you can see, he takes all of these like recovered things. These are all things he's found, corks that he's, gotten, scraps of wood. It's all out of the junk pile. And then he makes these pieces of art. And I just thought it was kind of fun.
Wow. So where is this is not in Torino and not in Cuneo, somewhere.
This is not in Torino. This is at Veneria Reale. So
Good.
that's the castle behind us where that great hall was. And this is just walking through town. This guy invited us in to look at his little studio, which was really fun.
Looks fantastic. Now I'm wondering, maybe I should have not gone to Vienna. I should have just come to Torino. It's probably about the same.
You should come to Torino. It's probably a little bit further for you, but not too much.
Not too much. Plus, the faster trains in Italy probably is going to be about the same time. So, that's a great photo with everyone on that huge.
So this is where, we're jumping to, and this was actually the first group that we did in not this last fall, but we're not in the new year yet, 2021. And so this is my homage, and I could see that my barbers were on there, and Pamela, and I think that some of them might be following along here, and I'm saying hello. And that was just good fun because that was the first time we ever ran the tour, and it was nice that they trusted me to come to take a real leap of faith.
Yeah, well, now it seems like everyone really knows Piemonte. I think that's like I think 2 years ago when you're like, well, let's do a staycation in Cuneo, it'd be like, who's taking odds that that's going to be like, a really, popular tour. And then it's like, as soon as it went, and then I kept hearing from different people who'd been on it. And now it's like, oh, perfect. Now this is like one of the signature tours we have. So very cool.
I hope it stays that way. It's so much fun. And so you can just see that the countryside has changed. And then this was last fall's group. This was really good fun. Here we go.
Yeah, with the new crew.
Yeah. And some people on there too. Patty and Patricia.
Yeah, and I know
Shirley and Joe. Yeah,
exactly.
They were in Naples.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a good crew. It was really fun. And then this is, the countryside that we go wander around in the Langa. And
yeah, so this is
I try to throw in a little art and culture.
Late September, I guess. Late September or first week of October, as I recall.
Exactly. And so obviously we're going to try to do one in the spring and one in the fall. So the next one's going to be in April. The one in the fall, I worked around an event. And then on the regular itinerary, I've actually thrown in a day where I can just choose. I don't have a set thing going on because I want to be able to take advantage of any local festivals that might be happening, just have some playroom.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great. Especially you could kind of, if something kind of pops up to, that's a special thing, you could fit it in there.
Exactly. And then this is for me one of the I love this, and I know a lot of the people that came on tour with me really, really love this. You see us in hard hats. So this is the Sanctuary of Vicoforte, which is the largest elliptical dome in the world. Actually, you see that dome, and it's just kind of off the beaten path. And we actually go up to the very, very top, and they made us wear hard hats and harnesses, not because we're floating in the middle of the church, but because we have to go up this staircase at one point to go underneath the roof.
Oh, yeah.
And this is something, people who are afraid of heights don't come up. I had, a few people sit it out, or they did about half the tour, which was great, and then went down and waited for us at the bottom. But it is amazing to get to the very top of this sanctuary. It's really satisfying. And going up and down with the harness is actually pretty fun. There's nothing dangerous about it. It's steep, but
well, that looks that doesn't happen on every tour. Let's say
it's adventurous.
Yeah.
And the hard hat comes in very handy. All of us, including me, and I'm pretty vertically challenged. I'm not a tall person, but I banged my head a few times and was very happy to have that hat on my head.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of times where I've been in whatever old ancient buildings and wished there was like the hard hat for rent type of thing, because it would come in
Say
handy.
duck. And then we go and eat. There's a lot of food on tour.
Oh, don't talk about eating. I don't want, me, I don't really like.
Yeah, you don't like food very much, and you don't like wine very much.
No, and they have like these thing called truffles or something over there. I don't know what's up with that. Come on now. I mean,
I know the truffles. I have to get to the truffle pictures. We're doing the drinking first.
Hey,
get through the grappa.
Nothing wrong with that. Wow. Okay, that's yeah. It's funny. It's like everyone's always smiling in the drinking photos. I don't know why that is.
They're smiling even when they're not drinking. We go to wineries, and there we are. This is the truffle hunt.
And I saw some chocolate stuff there too.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I don't think I put any pictures of the chocolate making on this particular slideshow today, but we do the Cunezian, we do a market tour, and this was the one white truffle that we found, and they are very scarce this year.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that you wouldn't know unless you kind of live in a truffle area like we do, is it totally changes from year to year depending on weather and other stuff. So it's like, I remember one year, and this was like maybe 10 years ago, when it was really bad over here. And it can be because it's dry or because it's too wet, or a variety of things. But they were saying, it's like, everything's just going to auction. And it was like up to 5,000 euros a kilo for white truffles in across the border in Croatia. I remember that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was more than that this year.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. And yeah, like this year I didn't go truffle hunting, so I wasn't really sure how the season was, because I don't really know everything, like what makes it a good truffle year or not.
It has to do with the rain that you get, especially in the summertime. And they often say here, if you have a good wine year, you're gonna have a bad truffle year. And I don't think that quite applies as much anymore, but the rain is very, very important. We had such a hot, dry summer that it was a really bad truffle year. And the wine is going to be limited in quantity, but the quality should be really good this year. Excuse me, I'm coming off of a cold.
And that looks like some.
But yeah, truffles are precious. And then the ground, actually, when we were digging this truffle out of the ground, because it was so hard, it was just like digging it out of cement.
Wow, yeah, because normally it's like it's all very muddy when I'm on truffle hunts. It's like wear your kind of old boots or something like that.
I actually brought a bunch of people rubber boots and hiking sticks for the people who wanted it. Worked out well, because we actually, of course, the one day that we went out truffle hunting, it had rained the night before. So we did have a little bit of mud, but not a lot. And then cheese, and we go to cheese farm because Piemonte has amazing cheese, better than anywhere else in Italy.
Really? No. Okay.
Well, no, of course I'm saying that as, living in Piemonte, they have great cheeses, fine. But it's different.
Yeah. Hey, but that's great, because, I would, once again, like everything, I think you'd be like, well, people would probably have 2 or 3 places in their head for best cheese in Italy, and I'm guessing Piedmont might not be on there, especially as a lot of people haven't been there. So that makes me want to go even more. And we have goat sheep cheese here.
These are, one of them is wrapped in chestnut leaves, and they're just little tumini. I think these are mixed milk, goat and cow's milk. Wow. Mixed. The cheese farm is really, really fun.
that looks, yeah, that looks fantastic.
And these are all the Piemonte slides I threw together. And I'm looking at some of the comments because I can see, let's see, Barbara and Pamela, happy New Year. And Pamela says the train between Cuneo and Torino is the only low point of the tour, but still fun. Yeah, it's an hour, so that's okay. And Kathy is coming in April. Yay.
If that's the low point of the tour, like that's pretty good, you know.
Yeah, that's not terrible, is it?
Yeah, put it this way, it'd be a lot worse if like the high point of the tour was that Cuneo Torino train ride. That was amazing.
No, then I'd be seriously rethinking what I do in life.
Yeah.
Are you ready for Puglia?
I'm ready for Puglia, but this is great. I mean, because like I said, I haven't been there and I want to go, and now I think just the cheese, the truffles, and that photo of that cinema museum is enough to sell me on. So I'll have to see if there's room for me on the tour.
You should come on the tour. You would love it.
I know I might not come back though.
I don't know if we'd make room for you though. No, I
They're
think
like,
we could find room in any case.
who's the Jabba the Hutt guy in the back of the bus there, man? All that space was
Quality control.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to make sure it's good enough for everyone else. Right. So the day after the Piemonte tour ends, we're heading south down to Puglia. And also, I mean, this is really cool that we've got two really great Italy tours that are definitely not the norm. I mean, these are not offered by everyone and their brother, especially Piemonte, I think. But Puglia too, because there's so many. When I went there, Lisa, I went there January of 2020. So that was like about a month before everything closed down. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, Sarah told me Puglia is great and the food's great and there's wine and olive oil. And I went down there with a friend of mine. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I've never been down here before. And I thought, I'm going to come back here. And then all of a sudden, everything just stopped for like a year and a half. But man, it's such a great place to eat. Although I don't know, I'm guessing it's very different than Piemonte as far as the food.
They are two different worlds. It is like going into another universe because Piemonte is green and mountains. Piemonte literally means at the foot of the mountains. And then you get to Puglia and it's flat, not all of it, but a lot of it, and desert, and high plateaus and just really dry, completely different landscape covered with olive trees. Whereas actually in Piemonte, aside from a very few areas, and you see almost no olives here. We don't have olives. We go and we stick to the butter and the cheese and the cream. And so it's changing completely. The architectural style is different. The people are different. The culture is different. This was Magna Grecia, Piemonte, or excuse me, Puglia is the heel of the boot. And you're looking at Italy as a boot. So you're going from the extreme, northwest corner here in Piemonte down to the extreme southeast corner in Puglia.
Ooh, maybe we should be like Italy extremes, like we mark.
Oh, there we go. North and south.
Exactly. It's like this week on whatever travel channel, like Italy extremes with Lisa Anderson. Okay, kind of cool.
Well, I tell you though, Puglia is one of both. I think Puglia and Piemonte are two of the next hot spots. I hope they don't get too hot because over tourism is something that we really have to think about. And so what I love about both these tours is that we're off the beaten path a lot of the time and not going through mobs. There are places that are crowded. When you go to local festivals, of course they're crowded because hey, that's where the locals like to go hang out. But it's a different kind of crowd and I really, really love that. And this is so much. We actually start in Basilicata. It's not Puglia technically, but the culture is still as it used to be. It's like that border territory. And Matera is one of the oldest inhabited cities in the world. It's amazing. It's just the architectural style, the poverty that was there. If you've never read the book Christ Stopped in Italy by Carlo Levi, it talks about the poverty that existed there, up until relatively recently. It wasn't dug out of the Sassi that you're seeing here, these cave dwellings that we stay in until after the Second World War, until the 50s and then the 60s, where people were moved out of this area and they were known as the shame of Italy. And then they just slowly over the last basically 20, 25 years been repopulating the Sassi, and Matera is really lively and wonderful and trying to kind of embrace the past that it had and educate people as, you know, why we wouldn't want to go back to that quality of life, and at the same time really just modernizing and making it an amazing place to visit. Lots of art and a lot of pride.
Yeah, it's definitely one of a kind. I have not seen it. I've not been to a place like it anywhere. I mean, I kind of have a feeling there's maybe some places that are not in Italy that might have this kind of similar vibe to it, but in Italy, I hadn't been to a place like it, and it was better than advertised, I thought.
Yeah, Matera is better, and it's far enough. It's hard enough to get to that it doesn't get. It gets crowded, but again, it's not the same kind of crowds that you get in a lot of the big cities in Italy.
Yeah, I think
of course we're going to eat here.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for, like, you want countries in Europe to like have all the really good infrastructure, and there's some certain places I think where it's like, yeah, I don't want the infrastructure to be too good, because there are places where it's like, man, if there's the highways and it's boom, 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 and or all the low cost flights, things are gonna change. So yeah, you kind of have to you got to spend a little bit extra time getting there, but
exactly,
it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Well, what are these?
Totally
Wait a second.
worth
What are these chicken? These chicken?
Isn't that funny? That was just like this art exhibit that was up, and the clothesline, and there were things written on each of the shirts. And I think it was all about love, and I don't even remember the exhibit anymore. But it was this one of these streets was just decorated with these chickens and with this, street art. Andrew, I haven't been talking this much in so long. My throat is getting scratchy.
Oh my goodness! Well, you better get a stiff drink.
I do. I know this isn't doing it.
Put the coffee down and get something a little harder.
No, it's not coffee. There's actually a little digestivo in there, but I mixed it with hot water to stretch it out.
Okay. No,
anyway, I'm just flipping through. Isn't this beautiful?
That is so nice with the. Is that the moon up there, or is that the sun going?
No, it's the moon coming out over the Murge. They call the area across the way in the plains there the Murge, and this is pretty close to where we stay actually down in Matera. So this is probably a 5-minute walk from our hotel.
Yeah,
I can see myself scrolling. I have to watch my finger. This too, and it's actually a church. You see the rock jutting up there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I know. I was there on our tour.
You were there a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I was there October 21. Yeah. So October 21 and then January 2020. So, and then of course I was hoping I would see you there this past summer when you went to go do some research, but that was not.
We didn't work it out time-wise.
Yeah, but I had some friend of mine he wanted to take a road trip down there to meet some olive oil maker or whatever, and I was like, hey, if you need someone else to drive, because it's a fairly, that's probably 10 hours from Slovenia. I was like, I'm going to sign up for that drive just so I can go back down there again.
You can come this next year.
Okay. Oh, the dried peppers. Oh.
I know, I love them. The pepperoni kruski, they're a little sweet and a little crunchy. They're not spicy.
No, those are like, you can put them on anything, or I put them on it. When I was there, I put them on pretty much anything. And I brought some home and they lasted like about 2.5 days or something.
Wow. They disappeared. I can eat them like potato chips.
Yeah. Those are.
Yeah. And you see the olives, they're fried olives, but they don't have them very long. They have to do them while the olives are fresh.
Oh, okay.
And they're delicious. They're really unusual. I've only ever had them once there because there's like a couple week window from what I understand where they make them.
Yeah,
not something that you have very often.
I don't think I was there in that window, because I would remember fried olives for sure.
I had never been there before, and they're not breaded. They're just, yeah, they were delicious.
Mm.
And then Gravina, you went to Gravina, didn't you?
I did go to Gravina, and and so I'm a huge movie guy, and of course, before I went to Gravina, I had already seen the No Time to Die trailers for Bond, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, yeah, they filmed this in Gravina. So I think it was like a week after the Puglia tour ended in fall of 21, that movie finally came out because it was delayed forever. And I went to it and I was like, oh, those cheeky bastards. They took Matera and Gravina and morphed them together and made it all like made this old Roman bridge like all in Matera. And I was like, if you go to Matera thinking you could like ride the motorcycle across the bridge, like,
Not gonna happen.
they lied. But yeah.
That bridge is actually part of the Appian Way that goes from Rome down to Brindisi.
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And would that be would that go across the sea? Does that because I know there's a road that goes from Istanbul or Constantinople all the way down to somewhere which is now Albania, and then it continues on from Brindisi or somewhere Bari or something like that to Rome. There's an historic trail that goes that way, but I'm not sure.
Well, there's that, yeah, because if the Appian Way goes out from Rome and then cuts off, and then it turns into Trajan's Way that goes to Brindisi, but along the coast, and then it continues as the Appian Way onto Brindisi. So it's like it parts. I didn't put a map up here of that, but the Appian Way is a continuation, but the Appian Way is like called the Queen of all roads. She was the first major Roman road project, and she starts in Rome and ends in Brindisi.
Wow, nice. And Brindisi's on the coast there, and you can catch ferries to quite a few different places because it seemed that all sorts of signs for which country or which different cities you want to go to. That looked like a pretty good way to go if you're leaving Italy or coming from Italy, from Greece or Albania or Southern Balkans. Brindisi is probably like the gateway to Italy.
Yeah, it's a really good jump off point. Exactly. I've never actually tried. I took a flight from there to get back home again. It's pretty handy actually at the end of our tour to go back to wherever you need to be. It's good for connections. But this is just another view of here. But Gravina, just like Matera, excuse me, has so many old tombs and just caves, the same sort of living style that they had there. We also saw dinosaur footprints.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing those. Yeah, well, Gravina, and I mean, I think I told Sarah, let's go to Gravina because that's where they filmed part of the Bond movie. But there was, 2 years ago, there was like zero in books. I have I tell you, a complete travesty is the Southern Italy Lonely Planet book is. If I was Italian, I'd be really pissed off at that book. It is so bad. There's so little in there. And it's amazing, like, oh my goodness. So it's still like, this is, I think, I don't think there's a whole lot of English speaking tour groups going to Gravina.
No, there aren't. And it was fantastic. Wealthier town than Matera historically. So it was interesting. There's a lot to see there, even though it's much, much smaller. And then from Gravina, we go to Altamura, which is known for its bread. Did you eat the bread in Altamura? The whole area has fantastic bread, actually. Puglia grows so much of Italy's wheat.
Yes, I was going to say, yeah, I did, but yeah, I will say the bread in Puglia puts to shame, like, and it's been a while since I spent a lot of time in Tuscany, but like thinking of like what I ate in Tuscany and what I would have in Puglia for bread, it's like not even close.
Oh no, the bread in Puglia is so much better.
It's like you and Piemonte cheeses, you're like, it's like next level, and this is definitely next level for bread in Italy.
Puglia is a bread lover's dream. No, and Altamura was really pretty. These little neighborhoods that they had in cisterns that were in every courtyard. If you go in different parts of Italy, I'm going back for just a second. They call them claustri, which like kind of means closed. If you think of a cloister, claustri, because they were little neighborhoods that end in dead ends, and they were. It's really unique. I had actually never seen it before, and it's different from any other city that I've ever been in.
Wow.
the way they were formed. And there's still water in this well. So I was fascinated by that. I always have to look down. And there was a local festival going on that day, hence the funny little kitsch
Cool.
hay bales. It was fun. It was a really good day to be going around. They were moving a very important relic from their church that day. In fact, we were kind of shooed out of the front of the church when we were getting there because it was almost time to move the relic. And there was a procession and music, and it was good fun.
Yeah.
Did you eat bombette?
Oh, I mean, that was like half the reason I went down there when I read about that in some book. I was like, okay. It's like 10 hours. Doesn't matter. I know I'm going to eat that once I get there. Yeah, the bombette are, that was so good. But I don't think, but you had now, is this maybe from Alberobello, perhaps? You had these ones?
This is from Alberobello, exactly.
With all the
I've
little
just switched
houses. But yes, the bombette, yeah,
there we go.
that is some good stuff.
Are you hungry? Have you eaten yet today? No.
I'll put it this way.
Dinner
I mean, yes, but
on the train.
but yes, but like you're, what you're eating in these photos, like, come on now. I'm not eating that. I'm like, back home, it's like my kitchen does not have bombetta. So,
No, you'll go find. I know you have good food where you're living.
No, I know, but man, when it's like, it's funny, like it's like any kind of certain, I mean, it's real simple stuff. It's just, it's just probably because it's so fresh and you just pick it out and they grill it right there. And, it's just, yeah. And I don't have a grill at home. So yeah, I can't, if I made my own version of it, it'd be pointless. So I'll just wait till I get back there again. Oh, I see. Yes. This is more about the Appian Way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is the Via Traiana because we go to an archaeological site on this tour. This was really fun. You know what the nice thing about these groups is that they're small and so we're really nimble. So this was a day that we were supposed to actually go. We were going to go try to do a boat ride along the coast after we were done with this archaeological site.
Oh yeah,
but it was so windy that we weren't able to do it. But we went and found instead this great restaurant. Oh, I can see mine. There we go. But these are not in order.
Yeah.
Monopoly is another town on the
it looks windy in that photo.
This one, it looks really windy, doesn't it? The hair moving. This one was a harbor, but it was actually really windy that day. And we wouldn't, these are little ideas of the seaside towns that we're able to go and visit.
Monopoly.
I don't think this does it justice, but it is absolutely stunning. This is going back to the archaeological ruins.
Okay, yep.
This was this spontaneous meal. This is our bus driver, Michele. I have to stop hitting my camera. I can't see myself, so I'm trying to.
Oh, I see. Yep, I see the bus driver's looking very serious with his phone there.
Yeah, he was being silly. And then you can see the sea behind us was quite stormy that day. So we didn't take a boat ride, but we had a really good time anyway.
Hey, that's right. And I have to say, I mean, that's one of those things I'm always like, when people are like, yeah, you could do this boat trip, I'm always like, man, even like in the good weather months, and you would think like September would be one of those. It's like, it's such a crapshoot. It's like let's have it in there, but not promote it. So in case it gets canceled, then you're like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna go to this awesome place and have lunch instead and look at some ruins, so people aren't terribly shocked. But yeah, it's tough doing, especially. I mean, I know how that's not the Adriatic. That's the
Well, this is the Adriatic here.
No, it is the Adriatic here. Okay. Oh, okay.
Oh, you're thinking of the Ionian Sea, which is down on the other sort of the instep and the upper.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I know how it is on the Adriatic. I'm sure Ionian Sea, because all of a sudden there's some fake line where it's like, oh, here's the Ionian Sea. But I know how it can be here. So down there, I'm assuming it's the same way. But these old olive trees are beautiful.
Aren't they amazing? So yeah, these trees are, upwards of 1,000 years old.
Wow.
And this was around Ostuni. I think you went to Ostuni too, which is up on a hillside. I don't think I put a picture of it. This is in Ostuni, beautiful white.
Yeah, Ostuni. Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably 3 or 4 cities and towns on the tour where you could have a good argument, like which is the most beautiful. I think Ostuni's in that conversation for sure.
Yeah, no, Estuni is amazing. And then of course there's the wine. So we would go to a winery. This is Polvaranera, and they're actually showing us the dirt that the ground is.
I still have a bottle of that. I've got a 2016 bottle, and I forgot I had it because it was in like a separate box, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll use this box to put something in. I was like, ho ho ho,
bonus bottle.
bonus bottle. That's like the best way, is like hide your wine and hopefully find it in a couple of years. If it's red wine, find it in a couple of years, is going to be even better, and then it's like free because it's like you've already forgotten about it. It's a great technique.
I just finished a bottle I opened for Christmas from this cantina, and actually I think I have their orange wine in my fridge.
Yeah,
pre-dinner sipping.
The cellar there was.
Yeah, do you remember their cellar is fantastic? You can actually see the roots growing down on the side of the wall if you look really carefully. If you could zoom in, but
and then there's it's almost like on the top side there are these little. It's like caged. There's like it's like a very narrow walkway. That's like a kind of like a, yeah, it's like little cages, and I can't, I mean, I just remember walking over there to get some viewpoints, but I can't remember if there's some chairs and tables there you could drink at or whatever, but it was a very unique setting for sure.
We ate out in the court. No, we ate actually inside that day, but we out in the courtyard. No, I don't have a picture of that, but it was fantastic. It's a beautiful setting, and I'm going to say kids because they felt really young to me. They were wonderful. The people that work there are really passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah,
and they make good wine.
And I'm trying to think, I can't even remember now, like how I found that place. If Sarah found it, if I found it, if we asked someone, sometimes it's just as simple as like, hey, those like the people who have the restaurant in Alberobello, like where would you go for a wine tasting or something like that? But yeah, I mean, I had only heard of them before we went there, and I mean, the wine was great, but also the whole experience and the people there were amazing because Italy's, I mean, Slovenia and Italy are similar things. There's plenty of places with great wine, but wine experience is like its own separate thing.
Exactly.
And that place totally nailed it. So
I agree. You ready to make pasta?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm still hungry.
No, that was fun. We had this Italian nonna on the very far right-hand side that spoke. I had a really hard time translating some of the dialect that she spoke. It was a really good, fun experience. And I think we were all really happy at the end to sit down and eat. Everyone did a great job.
Yeah.
And this is the name of one of the pastas. Actually, they look terrible. I don't think that we didn't do a fabulous job of making them. They get wrapped around the iron rod you see on the table, but Sanya inculate.
Does that translate into something?
It's the dialect. Yeah, it's like, I think it's literally means like it's turned over a rod. I don't.
Okay.
And I can't say it to save my life. And then orecchiette, the little ears, those were easier actually to make and really, really good fun. Such a great group of people. We had such a great group of people.
Yeah, anytime I see orecchiette now, I'm like, oh, that's Puglia. And to be honest, I don't know if there are other places in Italy or if that's really the only place that has them, but that's what I associate with Puglia now.
No, they're traditional pasta in Puglia. Absolutely. My husband made lunch today with orecchiette. They were so good that I think I got in Puglia. He made a good pugliese pasta.
Nice.
Oh, I'm getting down to the end here as my voice is coming to an end. This is in Lecce, and we went and saw a paper mache artisan.
Oh yeah. That's all paper mache. Yeah, it's funny because my brain's all tuned to images. So if I look at images, I remember things, and then things and I don't know if I have any photos of the paper mache stuff. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, don't they do paper mache in Lecce? Yeah,
it's amazing. And we actually, you can do hands-on. We could do a hands-on. They let us try making the clothing and wrapping the wires. And this is Claudio. He was really good fun.
That's
really good at what he does.
That's awesome.
They were talking about the big paper mache sculptures too, that we are obviously not working on there, where, it looks like a human-sized sculpture, but one person can just lift it up. They look like they would be stone or marble or terracotta half the time, but You can just go, boop. Obviously, when you're seeing these processions of these giant sculptures going through town, they're probably not marble most of the time, because you know that would just be impossible.
Yeah, people are like, I'm not getting paid that much to go like carry this stuff around all day in the old
No.
days. So
They would not be able to throw those around on their shoulders. Anyway, Lecce is our grand finale, and this is just it's a beautiful, beautiful city. So these are just a couple of things from there, and then our last meal. That's all I've got for you.
Oh my goodness! Oh, come on, man! I thought you were putting together a slideshow to sell. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it's like, how many meals did I like just kind of virtually eat in the last 45 minutes? Oh, that looks fantastic.
2 tours worth.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, those are such really unique things, and I think I mean, we've got Piemonte in September as well, but I think this kind of late April, early May is really, in I guess mid-April for your Piemonte one is a really good time for those.
It is. It shouldn't be too hot. Hopefully we'll get nice weather, and we're going to places that crowds aren't going to be a huge issue, but you know, at a time of year where Italy's just becoming crowded, even if you want to visit other places, hopefully it won't be a complete zoo.
That's true. And now I'm trying to think, when is Easter before the first Piemonte tour? I can't remember when Easter.
No, we're doing it right after Easter.
Okay,
so things will be definitely gearing up.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, at least, bless you. At least I know over a lot of places over here, like things kind of open up whenever Easter hits. So, but you won't be. Guests will be there after Easter has already happened.
Not during Easter. Oh, and can I put a plug in, Andrew, too, for Venice? You know, you have this wonderful, we didn't put any slides together, but the 1 week Venice tour that we have coming up in March is really good fun. With cooking classes and just all the beauty of Venice it's after Carnival, but before the Easter crowds hit.
Yeah, I mean, I know last year, I think it was run around the same time last year, and it was great because it seemed like everyone had Venice to themselves, which is difficult to do.
It was amazing. I really love that tour.
Yeah, so we'll probably have the Venice tour open probably for another 2-3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. And then with Piemonte, what we normally do is we normally close up tours two months before the start date. So that would be like the 3rd week of February, something like that. So if you're interested in either the Piemonte or the Puglia tour, you still have plenty of time to sign up. If you have questions, you can either just go to the website, send us an email, or you can put something in Facebook, and I promise that whatever's gone in there tonight or today, Seattle America time, that we'll get around to in the next couple of days and answer those questions. But there's room on all those.
Any questions?
Yes, and Venice. So there's still spots on that too. So hopefully, maybe now it's like we're a day away from New Year's resolution. So maybe people can make a resolution that they're gonna, go to someplace in Italy that they haven't been to already, go eat a lot of amazing food, and because we walk around somewhat, that you could not feel totally bad about yourself.
Never, no food guilt. No
food guilt. No, yeah, it's all free calories, something like that.
Well, I would love it. All of these tours are a go, but they're all lovely small groups, and so it's a great way to see this country.
Exactly. Well, awesome, Lisa. We'll let everyone go, but we will check the Facebook questions and comments and stuff like that. And I hope everyone has a safe and happy New Year's Eve and an amazing 2023. And hopefully that we'll see each other, or they'll see you or Sarah or all the other guides that they know sometime next year.
Sounds like a plan. And I just saw Sarah has a party up apparently on her website. Did you see that?
Yes, I think it's the 21st of January or 20th.
I think I might actually get to show up for one day because I'm going to Seattle to help my dad out. And so I'm going to be there, I think, on the 21st. I have to go up to the island on the 22nd, but
Awesome. So if you're
Sarah, I'm coming to your party.
crashing it, so if you want to talk to Lisa about any of these tours and you're coming to Sarah's party, like then
We
it's
can
like
talk.
then you could talk exactly. Now, since you're coming out to Seattle and you're going to Sarah's party, and we would love to sell a couple more seats on Piemonte, any chance you could bring like a bottle of wine or two from Piemonte, something like that?
What if I bring chocolates because they travel better?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Exactly. Yes. And
I
then
would bring the wine. Are you going to be there?
I'm not going to be there. If I was there, then I would bring my Puglia wine that I just found in my closet and be like, hey, but I'm not. Sorry.
I would bring the wine. If I can fit into my suitcase, I will bring the wine. I will definitely bring some chocolates.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, we all know how it is. It's just, it's always a pain, especially nowadays. You never know if they're going to bother you too much when you come into customs. So, all right.
Well, I have to say my priority is to bring the grappa to my dad.
Okay. Grappa to dad. So if no one gets any Piemonte wine, it's because dad got grappa. So
Exactly.
no one better bitch about that. But I think
Maybe
what
some cheese.
I'm hearing is maybe some cheese, definitely some chocolates from Piemonte at Sarah's party. It's going to be a blast.
Fabulous.
Cool. All right, Lisa, thanks for hopping on with us. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thanks for watching. Yeah.
Ciao.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.